All right, fuckers, welcome back to Practicing Portraits, artwod portrait roadmap, right? I don't really know how else to start these intros. Draw along, get your pen and paper out, draw along, let's learn fundamentals together, please. So, yeah, and let's focus on the effort, because that's all that matters. Effort, right? I think about this quite often. It's like really the only thing we can ever control is just how much energy, i.e. effort, and in this case, cognitive effort, and obviously motor skills, but drawing being primarily a thinking skill, like that's really all we can do, right? Not to say that the motor skills are not important, by the way. Motor skills, in my opinion, are just 30 to 40%, right? 30, 35, yeah, roughly percentage, because yes, it is very difficult to create fine lines, gestural lines, thick to thin lines, right? Lines that specifically follow your intent, right? But the intent is preceded by what your mind is intending, right? So, and what your mind is intending just comes down to, at least the best way to explain this, like what your mind is intending is just, okay, what are you trying to envision, right? What are we trying to create? So can our hand follow the mind? You know, Artwod actually posted on Instagram months back. It's a really nice quote. I don't know if they fucking ripped it off somebody, but oh yeah, Artwod, shill, right? I'm not fucking affiliated. Hopefully one day they'll affiliate me, but it most likely won't ever happen because this channel is abrasive. I'm abrasive. I'm the fucking channel. So yeah, I swear, blah blah blah. My personality is unlikable, whatever bullshit, right? It doesn't matter if I put the work in. I honestly don't. In terms of a brand perspective, I don't believe they'd ever want to be associated with someone like me. But it doesn't matter because I'm not trying to get associated with them. Like, or I am. Like, I would love to, but at the end of the day, I just want to prove that their methods work, because not because I have a particular fucking hard on for them without reason. It's because of the fact that their methods work. It's because they're the only fucking reason that I have the skill that I have. Literally the only reason. Number one reason that I have the skills that I have is because of them. Like my entire channel and everything preceding that, right? But anyways, what the fuck was I saying? Completely got off track. Anyways, let's just start drawing. What the fuck was I saying? What was I saying? Something about Artwod, and I started jerking them off. No idea. Literally absolutely no idea. And with that being said, draw along with me. Draw along. Please, for the love of God, draw along. Do not use these videos as just fucking... I mean, if you're entertained, good for you. I'm happy for you, I guess. But, okay, I did medieval, right? So I'll do... what's it called? Hard surface now, or sci-fi design. I'm really... What I love is that the more effort you put in, the more you get for your effort. In the sense that the more effort I put in, okay, what story do we want? Let's just have two fuckers talking to each other, I guess, right? My stories have become very uninspired as of late. Let's say they're talking about gossip, like drama, right? It doesn't really matter what they're talking about. I just need to practice different head angles. But let's see. This is why I'm looking at little inspirations, right? Okay, so obviously, what am I visualizing? What I was trying to say is the more effort you put in, the more you get for it, in the sense that we literally just, through excess effort, just end up figuring out what it is that we are trying to draw, right? Like what it is that problem we're trying to solve. Through excess effort, we build the skills in being able to solve that problem. Right now, what problem am I trying to solve? The ability to visualize the box, to visualize the shapes inside that box, like the half a sphere, quarter sphere, for this little simple beanbag shape that's preceding the actual face mannequin, right? Portrait mannequin that Artwod teaches in this roadmap, right? I'm also trying to maintain that visualization while I think about, okay, I need to draw the helmet over that now, right? So, and everything underlying that is asking myself the question, am I in extreme cognitive discomfort? Am I in extreme discomfort? If the answer is no, then we simply push even further, right? What else is really difficult about this? The fact that I'm literally explaining while I'm talking, right? Well, I'm explaining while I'm thinking, right? That's a skill. These are all skills. Never ever think anything is innate, right? Everything you have is a skill. Whether it came easier to you or not, that was your simple predisposition for that skill at birth or at a young age or whatever the fuck. But everything can be explained through skills, right? If you don't believe it, good for you, right? You can continue not building your skills. But for the rest of us who actually want to get better, everything is a skill, and it really helps to have that mindset. Like right now, my skill in visualizing the box, visualizing the sphere, semi-sphere inside that box, and then trying to visualize and think about a design for a helmet, overlaying that mannequin, that little beanbag face mannequin, is subpar, because it's really difficult to do while I'm talking. All of that, very difficult to do. But again, while I'm talking, it doesn't mean that I'm not thinking. As you can see, I'm literally ghosting, and I'm thinking as fucking hard as I can, right? And this is where I want to be. This is where we all want to be. We want to be in the place where we're like, Oh man, that's fucking hurting my brain. That's amazing. That's the feeling that we want. And this is really, really hurting my brain. Why? Because I'm putting in lots of effort, right? Putting in lots of effort. So now when I get silent is when I'm really thinking. So I'm going to be silent for a little bit again, which is why I implore all of you to draw along and enjoy my little background music. Well, not mine. It's Chainsaw Man's unreleased trailer music, right? The first season, which is fucking amazing. The actual official release, in my opinion, much worse, to be honest. They nailed whatever they did, like the sound they had with the trailer. But I'm glad it's unreleased. Otherwise, fucking copyright strikes galore on this channel. So it's a win-win for me. Okay, but I'm going to be a bit silent right now, so because I'm really going to think, and I really want to be in excess discomfort, but just like it's not just about thinking. Again, I'm trying to think about the design of this mech shape as well, right? So it comes down to multiple things. Let's start just with a line that indicates the form, right? And this is what I want to do. And then, okay, that's not bad. It's okay. It's not bad at all. The whole point of this is just so I can establish the forms in my mind, right? Establish the perspective in my mind. This right here, this line is to indicate the perspective. Now we've solidified that the box that we've put this half a sphere, right? And half a sphere in, right? It's still very difficult to see. Don't get me wrong. It's still very difficult to see, but at least now we've established something, right? And again, I'm looking at little examples that I have here, which are still very difficult to understand. Mech design, hard surface design is probably the most fucking difficult thing, in my opinion. Like for me, I struggle with it so much. But I think in general, it's because it constitutes a lot of what people struggle with in general. Pleasing shapes, interesting symmetry, asymmetry, right? Many plane changes, right? The subtractions, additions, interlocking, all that stuff. So it genuinely, it's a challenge. It's a huge challenge. Now I just have to think like, okay, what can I do here? What can I do here? Because think about the box, and don't forget that just because I'm thinking about the box doesn't mean that I stop thinking about the contour, right? Because this is actually on something. You know, this isn't just, this is not a flat plane. This isn't a 3D box in the sense that this, what I'm drawing on is a curved, it's curved. It's a fucking, it's a spherical plane, right? So I have to be really aware of that. Again, while I'm talking, I'm really trying to maintain the entire perspective in mind, right? Very difficult, extremely difficult to do, but the point is I'm trying to do it. Again, the point is I'm trying to do it. Keyword on the trying, right? Succeeding doesn't matter because succeeding is arbitrary, right? Succeeding is a measure we put upon ourselves based on skills that we don't have, right? Did I succeed to do this thing? How can you say that when you haven't built the skills to succeed in doing that thing, right? I've succeeded. This is a success to what I wanted to do from 8 hours ago when I first started this, like 7 hours ago, whatever. But now it's not a success because by the time I got to this point, I'm thinking even further ahead, right? So again, very difficult to create interesting designs. But that is why we're here, right? See, so that doesn't really look that good. I can admit that, I can accept that, and I can move on from that. Right? And you might be wondering, like, okay, is it even necessary to have all that excessive detail? It's not about having excessive detail. It's just about trying to figure out what the fuck I want to do, right? And again, if I look at this hard surface example, just a random one I have on Pinterest, it's all about the big shapes. But I don't understand that, right? I don't understand design to that extent. You know, maybe I'll have asymmetry here, or maybe I won't. You know, we'll have to. I shouldn't have drawn this line because I didn't know I was going to do something like this. So when I think about it like that, maybe it would have been better just to leave that as it is. But now that I have to commit, I still have to think about the perspective. See, that's just kind of like, it's just wonky now, you know? And was I in extreme discomfort there? No, I wasn't, but it's okay, because I've acknowledged it, I've moved on from it, and now it's just about trying to figure out the rest, right? And the beauty of this is the fact that as I continue to try to figure out the rest, I will continue to get better, right? That's kind of like, if there's anything that you should take away from learning, is the fact that learning is just trying until you learn, right? It's just making an effort to learn, making an effort to understand. Because at the end of the day, you will understand. It's almost inevitable that you will understand, but it just comes down to how much effort we're putting in. And as I've mentioned multiple times now, effort is a very, very difficult thing to put in. So as long as you're trying to put in effort as well, it's kind of, you're just setting yourself up for success. Okay, let's see. What do I want here? Because this person is looking down, right? A lot of cool shapes. A lot of cool shapes. Okay, because this is the center line, so I could do something like this. Right, because that's my center line. There you go. That's a bit off. It's a decent amount off, but we've committed, so we can't really do anything about that anymore. One thing I've noticed hard surface loves to do is just have things jutting out of other things, right? So is this going to be a great representation of that? Most definitely not. I think I already fucked up the perspective a little because I wasn't in as extreme cognitive discomfort as I could have been, but we'll just allow it for the time being, right? And let's see, from these examples that I'm seeing, okay, so we could see, like, I made a lot of mistakes already, right? I hope it's very clear that I made a lot of mistakes already, right? But the point is, I'm still trying, you know? I'm still trying to understand, right? Because that's really all that can be controlled, is just trying to understand. I mean, I'm okay with repeating the same point over and over and over, as long as it helps people to really have it driven home to them, right? That, oh, okay, as long as I keep trying and genuinely, and by trying, I don't mean to just put down pen to paper. That's not what I mean by trying. I mean trying as in like literally racking your brain, right? Again, I'm talking while thinking about the perspective, while thinking about the semisphere and the quarter sphere in perspective, right? So it's general perspective. I'm thinking about the box. I'm thinking about the shapes inside the box, and those shapes inside the box are also inside a box, right? Like a semisphere is still inside a box, right? Like it's still something like this, you know? Like that's still something, and that's it, obviously in the perspective, right? Very difficult bottom-up perspective, right? I'm also having to think in 3D and design inside this box, right? All these shapes that I'm trying to make need to have some sort of purpose, or if not purpose, some sort of aesthetic, just some sort of, they just need to be aesthetically pleasing, for lack of a better word that I can't really think of right now, right? And that's really difficult. Like, I don't understand how to make things look aesthetically pleasing. I just don't have that skill yet, right? And this is what I'm attempting here is a very clear reflection of that, because it's so hard to think about that. It's so hard to think about what the fuck is aesthetically pleasing, right? And it just comes down to trial and error. Yet again, just trial and error. Like, this looks like garbage, right? We can agree on that. This looks super bad, right? Great movie, but looks horrible. You know, maybe adding a cutout. I don't know why I said it like that. Maybe adding a cutout will make a difference, right? Maybe like it's kind of already too late for the shape. I'm well aware of that, right? But maybe, you know, adding a little cylindrical thing makes it a bit better, but not really, right? Because this in general was just very unconfident, and it didn't really have anything going for it. But again, maybe maybe it could be salvaged, but I don't think so. And then we'll just come around because I can't think of anything unique. So there you go. There's our fucking number 54, right? Super difficult, absolute shit, but I really tried. I really genuinely did try. And that's all I care about, is the effort that I put in. Right? And I hope that's all you ever care about is the effort that you put in, because we cannot control the outcome. We objectively cannot control the outcome. Technically we can control the outcome in the sense that we can, to the best of our ability, control the direction in which the line goes, in which the shapes are formed, in which the design is made. Yeah, in that sense we can control the outcome. But objectively speaking, when it comes to actually being able to make exactly what you want, just comes down through sheer trial and error, through even more sheer repetition, right? So Jesus, that's a fucking horrible line. This is what I was envisioning on the inside while I was drawing it, right? Something like that. Not perfect, really bad actually. But, and again, the big thing is like to remove your ego, your pride, and it's okay. Like, you can be objective. You can call your work, at least I can call my work shit and still not think it's shit. Like, I can say absolute garbage, fucking shit, literally like inbred art, right? That's a new way to insult your own art, but and myself apparently. But like, we can say all of that, but as long as we associate positive feelings with the mistakes, it doesn't matter. You can train yourself to just enjoy what you're doing. As one of my recent thumbnails said, it's hard to enjoy the joy when you don't enjoy the joy. That's why we must enjoy the joy of not enjoying the joy. Something like that. After that, like, I remember I wrote that down, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore. I don't know if these are real words. Okay, they're talking about gossip, right? So he's like, ooh, ho, ho, tell me more. That doesn't look like he's asking somebody to tell him more. Here, again, trying to think about the perspective as best as we can, right? There you go. And I know at this point it's obviously hard for you to see exactly what I'm doing, but the point for me is, like, I'm drawing the mannequin underneath of what I envisioned while I was drawing the helmet, right? Like, that's okay. Let's say it's a girl because I gave her eyelashes. There are her eyebrows. Cool. And then let's put the contour around, right? Or like go around. Let's see where her ears are. It's like this. There you go. Something like that. Okay, I'm gonna write down the next rep, and then I'm gonna rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well, right? Obviously, I want to draw it a bit bigger next time. Hard surface design is incredibly difficult, especially from doing it from this angle. It's like, it's so hard to make sense of everything. But I also need to figure out my own system for because I don't know if the page is getting cluttered, because obviously I draw on both sides, right? I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I mean, I don't like wasting paper, which is why I draw on both sides, but at the same time, I guess for clarity's sake, it would be better to only draw on one side, but I don't want to waste paper, right? For clarity's sake, for the YouTube thumbnail's sake, like all that shit, right? Well, for people who are watching, I guess, for their interest, but for my own fucking, I guess, analness, right, to not want to fucking waste paper. It's not the best. But anyways, I'm gonna rest my brain. We'll see how this goes. Okay, cool. So now we're doing what the fuck happened to my voice? So now we're doing some sort of medieval helmet, right? Okay, so she's like, oh, tell me more tea. And she's like, and the other girl's like, girl, you don't even know about the tea. And then she's gonna pull out her sword and behead her because she's the medieval knight. That's the tea. The build-up was her execution. This is, they're actually on the fucking platform, right? Her head is, what's it called? In the guillotine. Guillotine? Guillotine or guillotine? Pretty sure it's not guillotine. Pretty sure the L's silent. Listen, I'm an immigrant, okay? Look at my skin color. That's all you need to know. I can't pronounce anything correctly. When I can, it's impressive because he's an immigrant. When I can't, it's expected. Oh, he's an immigrant, right? So either way, I have a good cop out. If you're wondering what that noise is, that's just how I drink my coffee, apparently. Right, that little noise, some shit like that. But anyways, Botany was. Yeah, so that's what it is. She's in the guillotine, and she's like, "Wow, that's really interesting." And this girl's the executioner. She's like, "Yes, it is interesting. Now shut up and die." So an executioner needs to have really intimidating, really. Okay, so again, thinking about the box, thinking about. I obviously want to make the heads a bit bigger. Yeah, again, like you can see my proportions a bit all over the place. This one was really small though. Like that, this is the smallest I've drawn. So that's actually like almost as small as that. So we're going to not draw that small. Get it a bit bigger, right? It's actually a pretty decent range, I think, because it just helps with proportion. And it's like, oh, okay, this is how we can draw different size heads while maintaining proportion. Right? Proportion is something I struggle with quite a bit. When there's a million things to think about, I think it makes sense. But okay, so she's looking up at her. Maybe I should just change what her eye's looking at. There's no point. Maybe she's just belligerent and drunk. She can't focus. And this girl, we want her to have a cool executioner's outfit. So let's see. I'm just gonna open up. There you go. There's some cool, like I have medieval references, right? I have medieval and helmet. Like I made a Pinterest board called helmets. I put a bunch of sci-fi hard surface looking helmets and a bunch of medieval helmets that are like actually from real life. I think some of them might be from video games in terms of like a 3D render. And then I have a decent amount as well of drawings, things that people actually drew and ideated on. So the one I'm looking at right now is, what is this, like 8 to 9 ideations of an artist, which Pinterest never gives credit for. So unfortunately, I can't really tell you who it is, right? But I mean, it'll come up on Pinterest if you just type in medieval helmet drawing, right? I'm sure you'll find a bunch of these. But anyways, I'm just looking at how they did it. They did a lot of rendering, so I'm going to completely ignore the rendering, right? Because they did a lot of form indications with their lines, right? If anybody knows Kamome Shirahama, the author of, what the fuck is it called? Witch Hat Atelier? That's what I mean, like those really nice form indications, right? Anyways, I don't know why I want to, that sort of, no, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I'm distracted, please forgive me, but yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what is what's a nice design, right? What's a nice design? Let me open up another one. Right, this is all just to get a vague idea of what could pass as medieval for me, right? Because I'm not gonna know how to draw everything. And see, this is okay. This pen's going to shit again for some reason. What is going on? I actually don't know why my pens are behaving like this. There's no way I've been drawing so much that they're running out this fast. But what are you gonna do? Okay. Well, what I was trying to say earlier is like that's the thing about expectations as well, right? Is that it's really easy to think that like, okay, I have this. I don't know if anybody else has this, right? And I think all artists who consume good art have this, where it's honestly ego, but we think we should be able to draw like the people we look up to, right? That's a big part of it. We think we should be able to draw like the people we look up to, right? Instead of simply wanting to draw like the people we look up to and working to get to that point, there's this disconnect in thinking that we can already be there, right? Which is hubris, right? That's just ego. That's honestly stupidity as well, because it is ignorant to the reality that we're not there. Like right now, my mind is like, you should be able to come up with a cool medieval design. But the reality is, no, you fucking moron, you can't come up with a cool medieval design because you've literally only drawn maybe 20, 25. You've only tried 25 times, not even drawn good designs. You've only tried to understand 25 designs, right? So, of course, I don't understand good medieval design, for lack of a better word, right? But that's what's happening right now. That's literally what's happening right now to me. Is I'm expecting an outcome which I have not trained for, which I have not put in the volume, I've not put in the hours, right? I'm simply expecting an outcome which is unrealistic because I literally have not put in the work. I think I fucked up the perspective here, so now we're gonna have to figure out how to, because this is like this is, there you go, maybe that works, right? But yeah, I'm just curious if anybody else experiences that, and I hope if you experience that what I've said has put things into perspective, and hopefully if it requires me to say, oh, I'm calling you out, hopefully it called you out, because I'm calling me out as well, in the sense that we cannot expect things in which we don't have the ability to do, right? We can only expect things in which we have the ability to try to do, right? Like I can 100% expect myself to put in a lot of effort to try to see the perspective while I'm talking, while I'm explaining, trying to see the sphere inside, trying to see a design, right? Trying to think of a fucking 2D plane per every plane, like every angle, every plane of this design that I'm creating, and try to think about, okay, like what are the graphic shapes that I can create. I can expect myself to do that because that's exactly what I'm doing, right? I can expect myself to really try on that, but I cannot expect something good, quote unquote, to the standards of those I look up to the art I'm looking at as a reference in my tablet, to the art that I see online, to the art that fucking Kim Jong-il, Peter Han, Karl Kupinski, Elisa Ivanova, Sori Kim, all these people do, because they have, not only do they have minimum 5 to 10 years, if not more, like decades of experience, they have, that's basically it. It's not even not only that. They have decades of experience. They have years and years and years of trying, way more than I do, right? So that's all I have to say, I guess, is just, we can't be egotistical. We cannot be egotistical, because that ego is literally what's going to kill us. Or at least like kill our growth, right? It's gonna kill our growth in multiple ways. It's gonna kill our growth because we've set expectations. It's going to destroy. It's gonna just pure objective reality of what we actually can do is gonna destroy our expectations, right? And then therefore, because we place a lot of emphasis on those expectations, we are now not as motivated, right? Quote unquote, not as motivated. Oh, we're not as good as we want to be. Shut the fuck up. And I'm talking to myself in this sense too. It's like, you're not as good as you want to be because you're not as good as you are. Right? There's no that's literally the reality. And how can you get as good as you are? That's the beauty of it. Just keep trying, right? Again, while I'm talking, you might think like, oh, he's just dicking around, he's not talking, but I'm literally consistently trying to think about the perspective that I've established. Like genuinely, I'm thinking about that to my utmost, and I'm trying to think about graphic shapes, and I'm trying to think about a lot of things. And that's the key word. I'm trying, right? I'm really, really, really trying to think about these things. It's because that's the only thing I can control, is my trying. And the success is most likely not going to occur, or at least not my definition of success in what I just said. It's like, oh, I have to be as good as all the greats. Like that's not gonna fucking happen. It's just not gonna happen. Like, shut the fuck up, right? But what can happen is I tried, So again, I'm thinking about oof. See, this is like really hurting my brain. Right? Okay, so again, thinking about the contours. Let's cut it off here. Because I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, like what is medieval, right? Like at the end of the day, what is medieval, right? Medieval is these little fucking bolts put on it. There's a like extreme foreshortening happening here. Right? And is this accurate? Who knows? Is this medieval? Maybe not. Probably not, if we're going to be completely honest with ourselves, right? But is there an attempt? Yes, there is a very genuine attempt. And a very painful attempt, too. Like, a very painful attempt. Like, this is extremely difficult. I literally cannot understate or overstate. Yeah, I can't overstate how extremely difficult this is. Because there's a million things to think about, right? And I hope the amount of times I say this really gets into, if one person can take away what I'm saying, that's all that matters to me, which is drawing is thinking, right? Like, you are on the right path if you are thinking. That's all I can say. And like, again, what's the key word I'm using for myself? Am I in extreme cognitive discomfort? No. Okay, put yourself in more discomfort. Just put yourself in more discomfort. And I have a feeling when this channel pops off and when I get better and all that stuff, people will be like, well, he always had it in him. Oh, I'm just not like him. It's like, no, motherfucker, you goddamn idiot. taking a sip of my coffee to make my point. But no, the point I keep trying to make is this is all trainable. This is all trainable, right? Like nobody's born with the ability to focus for fucking like an hour straight on drawing while talking, while trying to think about the fucking box and all these things and trying to design and ideate. Nobody's born with that ability. They train that ability. And if you are born with that ability, cool. Okay, but you're the exception, and there's no point thinking about you. There's literally no point thinking about the exception because none of us are the exception. And if you are the exception, then good for you. You still have to fucking put in work to bring your exceptional state or your exceptional being to its potential, right? Unless you're one of those people who just thinks they can coast off of being just naturally good, then good luck. You're never gonna build a fucking work ethic, right? Which is the most valuable thing you can build. In my opinion, there you go. Right. That make you coom a bit harder. Okay, let's see. So see, I thought I could do more, but that does look relatively medieval, right? Relatively. Is it the most medieval thing? I don't know. I don't think so. I feel as if this could have been a lot better. Definitely felt like I fucked this up a decent amount, but now there's like, okay, I've seen stuff like this on some examples as well. The main thing is the center line, right? So something like that, and just kind of thinking out loud, right? Again, trying to see that perspective. Let's see. It looks decent. It looks relatively decent, I would say. And look at that, half an hour for, by the way, just two. Not even just half an hour for two. It takes time. It really takes time. Especially when we're literally trying to ideate and think, right? The thinking is so difficult. I hope I don't mind saying the same thing over and making my point, right? But I know I'm a bit of an autist when it comes to art, right? I'm a bit of an artist when it comes to being an artist. Anyways, I'm just gonna look at a couple more examples to see what can be done. Okay, so it seems like usually the head shape is pretty flat, or not flat, but not as adorned, right, by any graphical shapes, but it depends. Like sometimes there's patterns. Okay, yeah, so like I can see here that in some of these examples there's patterns, right? So we could actually do something like that here. Right? And again, it's all about following the contour. There you go. That's relatively medieval. And we can say that it is... We'll put some shadows underneath it to give it three-dimensionality. Not that these are... See how horrible that line was? Look how much badly I fucked that up. But you just gotta keep moving on. You literally just have to keep moving on. But yeah, what I'm trying to say, like, about the whole artist thing is the fact that I'm well aware that I say the same thing over and over, and I'm well aware that maybe it doesn't resonate with anybody, and that's cool. That's cool. I'm okay with it not resonating with everyone. It just needs to resonate with the people who find it helpful. That's my main thing, right? I don't need this to be advice that's applicable to everyone. It just needs to be applicable to the person who's going to be like, damn, I'm going to take some action based on this, right? Because it resonated with that person, and that's fine. It resonated with one person out of 500 who will inevitably listen to this, cool, right? If even one word, again, if even one fucking sentence I said, you're like, okay, that's actually pretty helpful, take that fucking advice. You don't have to, it does not have to be binary. Advice, receiving feedback does not have to be binary, right? When I went to Fan Expo earlier this year, back in September, I got a lot of advice. A lot of them were overlapping. A decent amount of them were unique, right? But at the end of the day, I didn't take all of their advice. All their advice was valuable because they're giving me their life experience and their own journey and like everything that they believe to be important. But it's impossible for everyone to resonate with you, right? But what resonated with me is like they all said, hey, you're doing the right thing. You're literally practicing the thing that 99% of beginners do not practice. So if you want more confirmation and assurance that, hey, practicing fundamentals is important, I literally talked to like a million not million, I talked to 7 professional artists whose work that I found interesting. Why 7? Because the fucking event was like an 8-hour event, and it's just like I would go to a stall and like, that artist really nice, and then I just asked them like, hey, this is this type of shit I draw. I'd show them my imagination drawings from my streams and my Kim Jong-il series, and I was like, can you give me feedback, because I struggle with these things, like, can you let me know like if I'm on the right path, or if there's things. And none of them, literally none of them said, oh, you're practicing fundamentals too much. Every single one of them, literally every single one of them were like, dude, this fundamentals, like, this is exactly what you should be doing. They would just give me advice on how to push my creativity and my ideation, and like how to focus on things outside of practicing fundamentals. So for any of you fucking idiots, and I'm being abrasive just to be polarizing, but yeah, for any of you who keep wondering and asking the stupid ass questions like, oh, do fundamentals work? First of all, stop asking stupid ass questions like, do fundamentals work? Okay, that's like asking, does breathing through your nose work when it comes to breathing? Just like asking, is using my tongue important for tasting food? No shit, fucking of course it is, right? So stop asking stupid questions, you know? It's okay to ask stupid questions, but stop asking them repeatedly, right? And please understand that, okay, wait, they're gossiping. So even, yeah, she's like, yep, I can't believe that happened too. Anyways, time to die. But, hold up. Every single one of those artists I spoke to, they're basically, what they said was, this fundamentals, like the shape practice, manipulations, everything, like, that's great. Now here's some other advice I can give you, right? And yeah, some of that advice was really helpful. Some of that advice is, I'm sure, has its merit in during its own contextual time, right? In the sense that like it will have merit when I get to a point where I'm like, damn, I'm advanced enough that this advice is actually way more applicable now. Some things just I just won't understand. Either they won't resonate with me ever, which is okay, or they just won't be applicable until I'm at a certain skill level, or I'm at a certain point in the art that I'm making. And that's okay too. That's completely fine, right? Or is this all cope and I'm just trying to console myself in you? No, I think that's fine. At least that's the advice I keep saying. Even I told them too. I'm like, I've been getting a lot of different advice, but the main thing I know is the fact that I can't take everyone's. I can only take what really I feel is applicable to me. And they're all like, yes. But yeah, if every single professional artist I talked to said, oh, I'll give names too. James Reyes, Uncouth Ruth, right? You can search all these people up on Instagram. James Reyes, Uncouth Ruth, right? The box office artist. I think that's James Reyes. Fuck. What's it called? Jimbo Box. Right? What else? JP Morgan, not JP Morgan, what the fuck, not JP Morgan, JP Buzio, right? What else? What's it called? Another guy, what was his name? Jean-Paul Desong, right? What else? I'm just trying to think, because like, you need to see, obviously I'm assuming you need their words. We need to see, I'm assuming the audience would like to see their skill level, so this advice that they gave me, I don't know why I'm quoting that, what the fuck, this advice that they gave me is more impactful, right? We want evidence, like, okay, he's saying that all these professional artists gave him advice and he's jerking off over how they said like he's doing good with fundamentals. I need to see their work, because is their feedback even valid? I understand that mentality. So here are the names. I can't remember all of them, but here are the names that come to mind immediately, right? But every single one of them were like, you're doing great with the shapes practice, you're doing great with the fundamentals practice, with the manipulations, with like, you understand, right? I think they were just happy because for the first time a beginner came to them and they didn't have to say, focus on your fundamentals. They could actually give me advice that was beyond that. So yes, so please focus on your fundamentals. So when you ask for advice for an artist, they can give you advice that they can actually give you. And it's not just them regurgitating, hey man, your perspective is shit. Hey, your understanding of form is pretty shit. Because every single one of them were like, your understanding of form is pretty fucking good. Here's how you can make it better. Or here's how you can apply it in ways that really push your abilities, right? Anyways, I'm gonna rest my brain. I'll be right back, right? This was pretty decent. But again, hard surface.